It is also a deep-rooted issue. We have and continue to be groomed to live by constant comparison. I also go ahead and take the topic of comparison and apply it to the vibrational frequency chart and where that puts us at when we are constantly comparing. Such an important topic. I just want to say thank you so much to my girl Roxy for letting me use the audio so that I can share this telephone call with our listeners here on Let There Be Luz. Let's get into this phone call, but first we're going to hear from my girl Roxy.
This is Roxy, founder of Amigas for My Soul. Many of you know me as the queen of Spanglish media, and I also have another passion, which is helping elevate women to tap into their maximum potential, because the power is within us all. You just have to be able to discover it. Some women have gone through life, have experienced different things, and I like to call those things filters that cover our life and make us believe that we aren't capable, but we really are capable of doing it all, of accomplishing all of our goals, dreams, and desires. We are full, we are complete. Some people, and some women especially, don't believe that. So when they come across an organization like Amigas for My Soul that I founded 7 years ago, our mission is to truly empower women of today to make a better tomorrow. We want to help women tap in to their inner guru, tap into their inner goddess, tap into the power that they have. You don't need anything exterior to validate you. All you need is your self-love, your self-approval. But a lot of times that takes work. So with that being said, I wanted to invite you guys to follow us on social media at Amigas, 4 My Soul, or visit our website, amigasformysoul.com. Thank you, Luz, for hosting this month's call. We love you, and we love the message that you're spreading and how you also are helping other women break the cycles in their life.
Hi, Amigas for My Soul. Thank you so much for having me on this call today. It is truly such an honor to be part of this community and embrace. I am going to speak on comparison. And it's so funny because when I heard Denise saying my resume, I thought, whoa, it's so easy to hear a resume and start to feel ourselves insecure and instantly begin to compare ourselves. And what we don't understand most of the time as we begin comparing, that there is a very special journey that is unique to each and every one of us, and that it takes so much work, as you all already know, to even achieve a strive. What I love about this topic, comparison, is that it is something that is never ever talked about. This was a topic that was presented to me from a list of topics to speak on, and I was so impressed with the idea of even talking about this topic, because I feel like comparison is something that is deeply rooted in who we are, in how we are raised, and in how we show up for ourselves. I went ahead and I was like, what does compare even mean in the dictionary? What does this word mean? To compare, straight from Webster's dictionary, means to estimate, measure, or note the similarity or dissimilarity between two entities or two situations. And so it literally means to measure yourself, or to even place an estimate on yourself or on somebody else. I find this so troubling, yet I feel that it is such a deeply rooted issue. From the time we're very, very young, at least for me growing up in my household, I always had my mom comparing me either to my sister or to my cousins or to neighbors. It wasn't that she was doing anything malicious. We naturally grow up in these situations where, you know, so-and-so is skinnier, so-and-so is bigger, so-and-so is lighter. There's so many ways that we are constantly compared. And we carry that, right? We carry that. It's already like it places this layer on us that makes us think like, I have to live up to this expectation that is unreachable because my skin isn't as light as that person, or I'm heavier. So already we're being tainted by these comparisons as small entities. And then we head into a space where we're going to school and we're constantly being compared to other students. You know, if there's a straight A student in the class, we're automatically being compared and measured up to where that student can reach. We are expected to reach those same heights or learn the way that student learns. If you take it even a step further, this happens in the workplace. So we are constantly making comparisons from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep. And then if you want to add an extra layer to comparisons, as if it couldn't be any more difficult, we have social media. Tech peoples that created social media, they understood how much value we put in measuring ourselves towards other people. And so there's a profile picture, and there's a constant update, and there's a location check-in, and there's all these things and all of these reasons to constantly be searching for who we are supposed to be based on measurements, based on comparisons, based on estimates that are outside of ourselves and belong to other people. I want to talk a little bit about looking outside, because when you compare, that's exactly what you're doing. You're looking outside of yourself to find out who you're supposed to be. And that can be really dangerous when you begin to do that, because the most important lesson I've learned is that in order to execute my personal mission, I need to look inside and receive the gifts that God has given me. I'm supposed to execute a specific mission that belongs to Linda Garcia, and you're supposed to execute a specific mission that is tailored fit to you. But I think that if we spend time looking outside of ourselves, we're not receiving the gift that we were intended to receive. Sometimes when I hear a path to our dreams or a journey to our dreams, I feel like we think of literal paths that lies outside of us. But I feel like that pushes on us this false idea that our path or our journey belongs outside of us, when it really doesn't. It belongs inside, from our intuition, from what our gut is telling us to do according to how we're supposed to live. You can imagine how hard that is if you have your parents or society or your job or social media constantly putting you in a position where you are being compared to someone that is so much more different than you. It's almost hard to tap into your own personal power and trust who you are supposed to be, because everyone wants you to be like this poster image that is outside of ourselves. We begin to trust people outside of us, and they don't know our dreams. They don't have a map to our path. There is nobody, not one single person on this earth that can tell you or guide you to your personal dreams. Sure, we can totally get inspired by a book. We can get inspired by a motivational speaker. And I believe that those positive entities, those positive beings, are people that are supposed to plant little seeds in our minds that we are supposed to tend to, we're supposed to water, and we're supposed to make grow. Because motivational speakers can tell us 1,000,001 things, but they can't make the seed grow. That is our responsibility. And so I want to remind you today that if you take anything from this, is that you have powerful source that lies within you. God is within you. Whatever it is that you believe in, the universe, whatever it is not outside of you. It is actually in your heart and within you. And it can move you and grant you beautiful ideas so that you can obtain a vision that is far beyond your current comprehension. But you can't obtain that vision if you're looking outside of yourself. Comparison is the easiest way for you to begin to block your blessings. The moment that you start comparing yourself to others is the moment that your blessings can't reach you. God has a powerful plan that's completely tailor fit to you. And if you're too busy looking at someone else's tailored fit plan, then what you're doing in that moment is you're telling God, you're telling Source, I don't want the plan that you've created for me that is supposed to bring me peace and joy. I want hers, or I want theirs, or I want his. You're completely telling Source that what they've created and the path that is destined for you is not good enough. And therefore, you won't receive the gifts that you're meant to receive in order to allow for your path to unfold into a place that is going to bring you happiness and is going to bring you joy. What happens is that if we get into this low feeling of us wanting what someone else has, that propels us into a really dangerous behavior. As I mentioned, you're blocking your blessings, but you're also kind of putting yourself in this type of hamster wheel where you can't get out of, and you're chasing something that is not yours and doesn't belong to you, so it's kind of like you're running in circles. It's a lower vibrational frequency. And I just want to explain really quick what I consider to be a lower vibrational frequency. There's different levels of emotions that we feel, that we can shift and feel throughout the day. It can be anywhere from anger to jealousy to hate to joy to peace. There's so many different levels of emotions. Well, scientists have actually been studying these levels of emotions for about 20 years, and they were actually able to see that there's a real vibrational frequency. There's an energy that radiates when you feel these emotions. And not only are those emotions affecting you, but they're also affecting the people that surround you, not just in your household, but this energy has been measured like to stretch out somewhere between, I think 5 miles is the biggest energy field that has been measured. So can you imagine if you are constantly radiating from a low energy frequency? This can really put you in a situation that is not so easy to pull yourself out of. This, of course, is part of our journey. This, of course, is part of our work. But if we constantly compare ourselves to anyone or measure ourselves by anyone else's wins, then we can constantly keep ourselves in a low vibrational frequency. So to go back to the vibrational frequency and the set of emotions, I wanted to share that the very lowest emotion is measured at a 20, and that emotion is shame. And the highest vibration is an emotion that is, it's enlightenment. That's measured at a 700. But the emotion right under enlightenment is peace. And I do believe that peace is achievable, and that is measured at a 600 frequency. Right under peace, it's joy. Imagine if these frequencies are measuring at 500 and 600, and shame is measuring at 20. And this is an energy that we are not only putting our entire body in, but again, it's like an invisible net that you're casting, and it's touching the people that surround you. That's why sometimes when you feel someone coming into a room and they have really great energy, it's really contagious, and maybe you want to go up to talk to them. You don't know why. You see light radiating from their face, and you're just attracted to them, and you want to feel that too. And so you come near their aura, you absorb that energy. And it's really true. You are absorbing that energy. It's contagious. Or maybe you walk into a room and you see someone with really bad energy, and you immediately feel their sorrow, you immediately feel their pain, and you start to feel that energy begin to bring you down. And what that energy is doing is actually sucking the energy life out of you. That is what high and low vibration is, and that's what takes place. What happens when we are in a space of low vibration or we're in a space of high vibration? When we're in a space of high vibration, we can really attract expansion, and we can begin to attract health and abundance. Someone that is in a space that is much more joyful and is much more at peace is more likely to attract the type of life that they envision themselves receiving. But when you're in that lower frequency, you're blocking those types of blessings to come towards you. You're blocking that energy because what you're releasing is what you will begin to receive. So it's really important to be mindful of where your level of emotion is, and also know that the contrast, the negative feelings, the lower vibration is also really necessary for us to know what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want. So it's not that it's, we have to pretend we're happy or always try to vibrate in this high vibe space and ignore any personal issues or traumas that are taking place. No, it's completely opposite of that. It's actually being in that space and that low vibration and working yourself up through the emotions, working yourself through this energy to get you into a better space. Because anytime you suppress an emotion or not deal with a certain trauma that attracts this type of energy doesn't serve you. So it's not about faking the funk or trying to pretend to be something you aren't. It's really about dealing with those issues that bring you into that low vibrational space so that you can then move through and move up through the vibrational frequency and eventually get into a space where there's action, where there's motion. Believe it or not, anger is at a much higher vibrational frequency than what we discussed, the lower vibrational frequency at 20, which is shame. And so I want to talk a little bit about shame. There's very many reasons to feel shame. I'm going to talk specifically on the reason of comparison. I think that when we start to ingest this energy of like comparing ourselves to others, we might feel shame about being who we truly are and start to feel like we're not good enough. And so with those thoughts, you're putting yourself in the lowest vibrational frequency. There's also a different type of comparison. There's a comparison where maybe you need an ego boost or you want to feel better about yourself. You start to compare yourself, well, at least I'm not as bad as them, or at least I'm not as whatever the case may be, but you start to look for negatives in others in order to make yourself feel better. And what happens is that is still, you're still operating from a vibrational frequency of shame because now you're shaming someone else. And so what happens is that emotion, that vibration, that energy is going to come right back to you. What you're doing is keeping yourself in shame. So I think it's important for us to take note of what happens when we start to feel these emotions. And I think just being observant and knowing that what I'm talking about right now makes you more aware, and you can begin to operate from a completely different perspective than just constantly comparing ourselves. Because like I said, this is really a deep-rooted issue that we have been trained to constantly compare. We've been molded. And so to get ourselves out of this habitual pattern is not easy. It's a transition. So it's really about just being aware when you start to compare yourself, when you start to put yourself in that space to know, okay, I'm aware that I'm comparing myself to someone else. I'm aware that this does not serve me. And so what I'm going to do in this moment is just observe. Don't try to change yourself. Don't try to focus on something else. Observe your thoughts. Let them go as dark as they would go. What you want to do is catch yourself to see how unconscious, how much of a lower frequency your mind goes into. So don't necessarily stop it. Just monitor it. And what will begin to happen with time is that you will catch this earlier and earlier and earlier. And you'll begin to notice, wow, I'm spending the majority of my day in a low vibrational frequency, in a space of comparison where I don't value who I am and what I can contribute. And I promise just making the simple step of being aware will guide you to a space where intuitively you will begin to listen to your inner voice on what it is that your personal mission is, what you're supposed to create, who you're supposed to become, and let go of any outside ideas or perspectives that our families or society might have on us that can lead us into a direction, into a life that doesn't belong to us. Because the worst thing that can happen is we get into college to do accounting because our mom wants us to be an accountant. We graduate and we go through the entire role just to please our mom because of the comparison that was being done. You're comparing yourself to something that is an image that your mom wants you to become. It's not who you were destined to be. It's not who you're supposed to be. And so all of this is just to be much more mindful in acknowledging when this type of energy comes through, and then eventually to be able to stand in your own personal power in the space where you can begin to trust what your intuition is telling you on what to create, on what to build, on what to do, whether that's a business, whether it's a community, whatever the case may be. You begin to trust that personal journey. Your vibrational frequency is only going to expand to a place of joy because you are following your God-given mission. And when you're following your God-given mission, the universe yields to grant you whatever it is that you need to accomplish that mission. And you'll begin to stand in your own personal power. You'll begin to stand in your own personal light. And you will begin to give permission to other women that might not be standing in their power, that might be spending time in a space of comparison out of fear, out of, wanting to please other people. You'll be giving permission to that person just by your vibrational frequency, just by your net of vibration that's touching them. You'll grant them permission to be able to do the same. And what will begin to happen is that we will begin to find more and more amigas obtaining their own personal goals, reaching levels of success that they never even deemed imaginable for themselves. If there is anything I really want you to take away from this conversation, is that you inside your DNA are so special. And there's a special element that you are supposed to contribute to this universe. And your sole job is to find out what that element is. That means you take your spiritual path within yourself and you don't give permission for anyone to disrupt your path, to come in and try to tell you where your path needs to be. No, you own that power. You go inside, find your path, and then you come back out of yourself and you contribute that energy to the universe. And I promise you, not only will you begin to see your personal life change, you're going to begin to see your household's life change, the direction where your children go. If you have children, your parents will begin to change. The entire universe will begin to change. And collectively, we can finally be who we are truly meant to be. Thank you so much for giving me the space to share my personal thoughts on comparison. Thank you so much for Amigas for My Soul, for all of the incredible work that you are doing, and just having conversations like this. I know that you all have inspired me, so thank you for the community that you've built. This has been a pleasure. I hope that the light within you grows stronger.
Return to the one.